Wisconsin. We'd like to send our sincere condolences on your loss. Some of us are veterans, some of us are not. Some of us ride bikes, and some of us don't. But the one thing we all have in common is standing for those who stood for us. We will be here through the whole day until the service is over. We'll be outside, standing by the doors with our flags in silence for our veteran. Normally we have a plaque to present, but unfortunately the gentleman who does our plaques has been sick. He just came back to work on Monday, and he's trying to get caught up because we've had a lot of funerals within the last few weeks, unfortunately. So I will read you what the plaque is going to say, and then I'm going to personally, once I get the plaque sent to me, I will personally come and present it to you. So the plaque will read, on behalf of a grateful America and the Patriot Guard Riders, please accept our sincere condolences on your tragic loss. May your pain be tempered by the knowledge that James Eugene Osborne, U.S. Air Force veteran, Vietnam, is a true American hero. And also with that, we will have some dog tags. This is a sample of one. On one side says, "We will never forget." And the other side will say, "A great American hero, James Eugene Osborne."
Okay, I'm going to read this because I am really, really bad at public speaking. My lovely wife, Maureen, helped me put this together. Otherwise, it would be like my English class, all red. No, all this, okay. Hello, everyone. I am George Osborne, Jim's younger brother. I live in Lowell, Indiana. And we're 2 years apart in age. I was born on October 6th, 1948, and Jim was born on October 5th, 1948. So we share a lot of childhood experiences together growing up. One of the earliest things that I can remember, and trying to remember back 70 years, oh Lord, it was tough. Really, really tough. I mean, at times I have trouble remembering what I did the other day, yesterday, you know. But anyways, one of the earliest things that we could remember was helping my mom. I was age 6, Jim was age 8 or around that area, and we were helping my mom put in a garden back because we used to have tremendously big garden because my mom was a farm girl, canned everything in sight. And we were working, planting the garden, weeding, and when we finished up for the day, my swimming pool in the backyard were two, what do they call them? Excuse me here, two of the wash tubs. One for me and one for Jim. Filled up the backyard, sitting in the sun so it would be warm. So we did that, came up and we did our thing and came off to cool off in the backyard. We jumped on our little swimming pools and had a good time, cooled off. Well, then the next thing is that about a year or so after that, because our garden was so big, in the springtime it's just muddy, really, really bad. And so I had a cousin come over, Mary Fisher, and her brother, my brother Jim, and her were playing in the backyard. And they went into the garden. They got stuck in the garden. And my mom, being 5 to 6 months pregnant with Diane at the time, had to go get some folding ladders and laid them down, and then came back and put boards on the ladders so she could drag them out of the mud. And but this said there's certain memories that just kind of like mud stick in your head, and this is one of them. It's the good times and all that stuff. Well, I covered that. Excuse me. I'm ad-libbing a whole lot here. I'm enjoying this, though, believe it or not. So.
Yeah.
And okay, my wife said, the bottom line, what a muddy mess that had to be. Okay, one of the experiences we had was my dad had a cousin up in Scandinavia, Wisconsin. And we used to go up there on Sundays and that. It's a farm. and we used to play on the farm and all that stuff. Well, my dad and mom decided that they needed a vacation from Jim and I. So they put us up there for 2 weeks. And there's nothing. I learned how to milk a cow, which most kids don't even know what a cow is these days. And we chased pigs, because the pigs always got out of the pig pens, and chased them around and that. We actually tried to chop a tree down one day, and that took us 4 days with a hatchet to chop a tree down about 4 days. You third up, that's not something I'm going to do when I grow up. But we did that, and again, it was just an experience that most kids don't even get a chance on today. And again, it's something that you look back on in history and you enjoy. Well, Jim, I guess, let's see what okay, and from that experience, your brother, Jim, got a job in 1963, in the summer of 1963, and he actually worked on a farm all summer. From a neighbor across the street, their daughter had a farm, so he worked on that. Okay, now we're going to get into, about the age of 12 or 13, Jim had a paper route. And when the weather got really bad, Mom in our 54 Chevy would put the papers in the back. Jim would take one side of the street, and I'd take the other side of the street during the snowstorms and the rainstorms, and we'd deliver papers. And you know what? He never gave me a blasted cent. So I will come collecting for at least $30. And Jim was a good, I think he was I'm not going to say an expert athlete, but he was an all-around athlete, if that makes sense. At the age of about 11 or 12, he went out and he had a couple of years of Little League. Don't remember it that much because I never did that, but then he found out that he liked basketball. Basketball turned out to be his sport. And what Dad did is one Christmas, we got a backboard, a rim, and a basketball, and Dad put those up in front of the garage. And what he did is he set it at 2 levels. One was the regulation level. Then one he came down so Jim could dunk it. I could remember him running up there going, trying to dunk it. And he practiced out there for hours upon hours. And one of the things about that was that it was just something he really got into. And like Marine said in that what was nice about it was Jim never complained about shoveling the driveway, because he would shovel it, then sweep it so he could play basketball. And like I said, Jim played a lot of sports. He played basketball, but he also played intramural basketball in high school for his junior and senior years. But he was also manager of the baseball team those 2 years. And that's how he got his Fond du Lac letter for his letter jacket. And he was, by God, he was proud of that. And he also was good he played tennis in the summer times, but he also ice skated. And we used to go out on Friday nights and ice skate with my dad. My dad was a good ice skater, but we'd go out and ice skate and come back and warm up in the Chevy and just sit there. It was a nice time to spend with Dad. And again, then in later life, he did take up golf. I know I'm bouncing all over, honey, but.
That's okay.
And one thing Jim did too is you'll probably see him with an accordion. He took accordion lessons, and for about 2 or 3 years. And what he used to do too is we would get together with my grandparents, the Fisher side of it, and we'd do something on Christmas, the Sunday before, the Sunday after Christmas. And my grandpa, Fisher, played the violin. So when Jim learned how to play the accordion, he joined in with Grandpa. And we all sang around them, playing that. And it was just a good time. It's a good, memorable time we had with the family. And let's see here. I have no idea where I'm at now. So, am I doing okay so far?
Yeah.
Are you enjoying it?
I'm learning a lot.
Good, that's why I'm at. You get the salesman. I was a salesman for 31 years. You'd never know it. I'm enjoying this more than I thought it would. Okay. One of the things I was kidding Matt and Eric about was the Osborne coordination problem. As you can see by my elbow, it does exist. And Jim he was a good athlete, but when he tried to do certain things, what the shit? Pardon my English again. Well, we lived out near the country, and what they did is have big hayfields last, or just grass. So one summer they did is they mowed all the grass, and us kids from the neighborhood got together and piled it underneath a telephone pole. Well, we climbed a few rungs up to the telephone pole, they jumped and landed in the hay pile. Well, Jim, he jumped up and jumped, missed the hay pile, sprained his ankle, and that was number one. Well, then another summer we had kids doing cartwheels in the front yard. And Jim tried it, broke his little finger. So, these are just a few things that kind of brought up that I thought you might enjoy talking about your dad a little bit. But I can say one thing that we learned from Mom and Dad is we're a very strong family, strong background, and a lot of love growing up. And we all were blessed with having a very, very strong family and strong parents. And one thing I'm going to say is I'm going to miss Jim tremendously. He said, if anybody wants to know any more just about Jim, if there's anything you guys think of, just give me a call. Other than that, that's just a few things that we learned. And thank you.
My name is Bernie Holnagel. My wife Linda and I have had the privilege of being long-term friends of Jim and Yvonne. Yvonne and Linda were high school friends. Jim and I became friends when we would get together as young couples. First of all, I'd like to express my heartfelt condolences to Yvonne and her family. Some of the things we are never told. The hardest part of growing older is losing the people you love. As you all know, Jim was an experienced and respected CPA. I got it from a good source that God was being audited and needed a good accountant to help him out. So he brought Jim up. On a personal note, Linda and I were so grateful that we had one of our marathon lunches with Jim and Yvonne. And that was the day before he passed. It was a lunch we'll never forget. There were many marathon lunches and outings that we shared over the years. When the girls decided to go shopping, Jim and I would find a bench and reminisce about many things. We would chat about our military days, come to find out that both Jim and I did the same thing in the military, Jim in the Air Force and me in the Navy. After our military service, we both attended UWO as business majors. Jim was a couple of years older, and I would seek his advice from time to time. We had many things in common. Both Jim and I were presidents of our respective condo associations. Many times I would seek out Jim's advice and suggestions on condo issues. Jim was very knowledgeable and I respected his advice. If we weren't talking about the military or condo issues, we would talk about the books that we read. Being an avid reader, Jim would always provide me with the latest books. We were fortunate to have this lifelong friendship. We shared many memories over the years and enjoyed each other's company. Jim was a great husband, father, grandfather, and a true friend. Jim, whom we missed, but never forgotten. Rest in peace, my good friend.
So my grandmother's brother, Ray, from Florida, was unable to make it today. But he wrote this poem during his time in the Marines, and we wanted to share it because we thought it resonated well with Jim in his life. It's called Taps. We were young, we were bold. We knew we never would get old. But the years have gone by, now we know that was all a lie. But don't grieve for what is past. Raise that flag from half-mast. Think of all the good times that we had and all the reasons to be glad. The journey has been long, the parting but a song. Hold your heads up high and shout out Semper Fi. Thank you.
Osborne, Belangi, family members, dear decades-long friends, acquaintances, and those honoring Jim Osborne's life, you are all gratefully acknowledged. Yvonne, Eric, and Matt, we here present extend our condolences and support at this memorial to the four corners honoring your family rectangle. Each of the sides bordered with unconditional love, support, patience, and forgiveness. A second and third generation will follow practicing unconditional love, support, patience, forgiveness. Personally, Yvonne and Jim, matchmakers, perhaps hatched conspiratorially a blind date with her pediatric nurse friend, Jane Carford, and me. At that newlywed stage, Jim and Yvonne were a poster couple of fun and adventure. Soon thereafter, my Army Reservist monthly drills with the 144th General Hospital Menasha unit also fell in step. Some here need to be reminded, Eric was actually in Jane and my wedding party. Be that in utero, empire waisted and comfy at our wedding, a mini ring bearer with her niece Kelly. Thus, Jim and Yvonne, Jane and I began our much appreciated couples partnership, Osborne and Belangi, LLC. Rather than catalog bullet points in Jim Osborne's resume, I am offering Osborne and Belangi families and friends who knew and loved this gentleman as brother, husband, son, grandfather, to continue and follow and repeat Jim's kindnesses. Your own imitation is the highest level in that flattery. Recall Jim's gentleness and joyful appreciation in being a husband, dad, grandfather, and ever grateful that his Fond du Lac childhood, with Leave It to Beaver nostalgia, ever remained. Jim's chuckle, raised eyebrow, wince, and absence of standing on ceremony were his favorite equations and accounts balanced. Each of us are encouraged to imitate and propagate kindnesses. First, be kind to yourself. And those personal practices allow for a kinder world to flourish. I will offer my poem, Do Me a Favor, a bid for each of you to continue that life so readily shared with each of us. Do me a favor. In the coming days, think of me and take a deep breath. Hold and recall a laugh, a smile shared with me. In the coming week, call to mind an unhappy thought. Realize I am free of such moments. In the coming months, the changes you notice are unobservable for me in this sublime ever-present. In the passing of another season, observe and enjoy God's unending palette of color and beauty. In your favorite holidays, invite me back in celebration. I will be there as much as you want me to be. In a year from now, do not forget each of your prayers are shared by our Father, and we care and pray along with you. In your own journey, remember the weight I carried, and realize God releases us sooner than can be known. In your life, be encouraged. I await. For eternity is to be enjoyed with you. I also wanted to, in conclusion, express our gratitude for this fine honor guard of veterans who I've had conversations with today. It's a great tribute and benefit that we share as veterans.
Detail, attention, present, hope! Detail, 10, hut! Work, arms! Left, right, good! Ready, aim, Detail present. Halt!
Ma'am, on behalf of our VFW post number 2778 from Appleton, we extend our sympathy to you and your family and your friends. Begin to show business. Heart. Again, sorry for your loss.
Detail, order, halt! Detail. Right, face. Counter column, march.